Welcome everyone to my latest action figure review, as I have the newest Bandai Tamashii Nations SE Figuarts release for One Piece, as we have the Romance Dawn Roronoa Zoro. So another nice one to add into the collection, as so far they have given us Luffy and Nami to start things off. So it's a nice trio for the collection, and you can see with the boxes as well, the colors really match the theme of the character. And recently we also had the release of Ace, which I'm yet to review, and this figure does look really good in terms of just looking at it in the packaging. So Zoro, I believe, is something that they haven't done previously in terms of this Romance Dawn line compared to Luffy and Nami. So this is going to feel very new into the collection, and hopefully it will be better than the Raiden Onigashima version, because that costume, it was very difficult to get the swords on. And then recently they gave us the Netflix live action version, which is very similar to this one, and that was a decent figure. So hopefully they'll implement the good things into this one as well. So looking at the packaging, as I mentioned, the theme colors are really nice to match with Zoro. We have the usual logos and titles and stickers, and then on the side we have the title with the photo, and then the other side we have the shots of the characters' faces, and then at the top we have that straw hat cutout once again, and then here's a look at the bottom, and then at the back, of course, we have the figure in different poses and showing off some of the face accessories. So let's get Zoro out of his packaging and take a closer look. So keeping it simple, we have the instruction manual on the side of the box. And here is a first look at the Zoro figure inside its packaging. So here is a first look at the full contents of the Zoro figure. As expected, we have the alternative faceplates as well as the interchangeable hands, and the swords are done in the same style as the previous figures. So here is the first look at the Roronoa Zoro figure taken out of its packaging. First impressions, no surprises in terms of how good this looks. Of course, it does look like it's spot on from the anime. It's what I expected, as they've done some really good figures recently for the One Piece line. So not only the Raiden Onigashima Zoro, which looks really good, of course they nailed the looks of Luffy and Nami as well. So you won't be disappointed in terms of the actual build and look of this figure. Of course, the more exciting thing is that you're going to put on the accessories, and it's going to make their figure look even better. So kind of the first look, I guess, is what I expected, and I guess what most people will expect when they pick this up. It's just a very simple look, finally going back to the basics for Zoro. And I just feel that this look is more of that classic one, and it's just a lot more simple compared to the Raiden Onigashima, hence why it was a hassle putting on all those accessories. So hopefully for this one they will fix those issues. And straight up you can see that Zoro has the bandana on his left arm, which is removable of course when he has the bandana on his head sculpt. And then just looking at the colors, they really shine, especially with the hairstyle. It's a lot different compared to, of course, the green parts on his costume. And yeah, just first impressions, I like the build of this. And it's just something that I feel that when you add this into your collection with the other characters, it's just going to look even better. So the Raiden Onigashima one, apart from putting on the swords, was a very good look. Of course, there were some loose pieces here and there, so that's why it had a lot of flaws compared to, of course, the other characters. But still a really good look. But of course, this is the one I think a lot of people are looking forward to the most. So of course, I will do more comparisons later on, but here is a first look next to the other two, Luffy and Nami. So of course we're waiting for the other two as well, and then we'll have a nice collection building for Romance Dawn. So I just really like the contrast of the colors of the three characters. So yeah, first impressions, I really like the look of this. Let's zoom into the head sculpt, because that's one thing that a lot of people do want to focus on. And as you can see, it does have a really good look. Of course, it's not going to be 100% accurate to the anime, but for a figure, I think they have really sculpted this really well. And yeah, just really like the look of this. So next up, let's take a look at the different accessories. So of course, the key one for Zoro is his trio of swords. So just like the previous ones, we have it in the sheaths, which can be attached to the sides. And then we also have the three swords for him to, of course, have in his hands as well as his mouth. So the Raiden Onigashima one, as I mentioned, was a real pain. As you can see, the arm has been taken off really easily. But it was a real pain putting the three swords in and kind of attaching it. So this was really annoying with this version. And then in the Netflix live action version, they kind of fixed the issue. Well, it is a different kind of costume, so of course it's a lot easier. You can see that you can just slip the sheaths through these 3 patches, and that was very simple. But looking at this one, it does look like they've done a massive improvement. Here we have just a hole for you to punch it in, and it's just a lot more simple. So kudos to Machinations, making it very simple to just place the swords in, and just no hassle of just pulling it out of the sheath. Of course, I'm not sure if it still does that. Yes, you can still remove the full sword out, but just everything is done really well. So you just take it out and then punch it back in. So yeah, this is very good in terms of what they've done. Just very simple. That's exactly what I want, especially if you're going to always interchange the accessories. You don't want to be spending too long on it. So it is kind of movable as well, so if you do different poses, it's going to work. The only problem, of course, it could maybe detach itself very easily later on. So I'm not sure over time if it's going to work, but I do like the way they've done this. And as expected, we can remove, of course, the top halves of the swords, especially when he uses them in hand. So I'm just going to do it for the purpose of this video. There you have it. You can remove it and just show the sheath, and then of course we'll put the swords in those hands. So yeah, this is a good start for Zoro. Next up, before we take a look at the swords in hand, we'll see all the hand accessories included. So the one right out of the packaging, we have the trusted fisted hands for those punching poses, or just that natural look for Zoro. For the second set of hands, we have a pair of thumbs up hands. For the third set of hands, we have another pair of relaxed palms, and this can be also used to when he grapples onto the sword. And for the fourth and final pair of hands, we have the ones to hold on to the swords. And here is a look at the double swords held in hand, which is a very classic action pose for Zoro. As you know, with the third sword, it will be placed in the mouth, which I'll show you with the alternative head sculpts. But in terms of the design of the swords, I do like it. I'm pretty sure it's accurate to the anime. Of course, those of you who are probably bigger fans than me in terms of One Piece will know that this is meant to be the design, I'm guessing, as you can see with the half silver, half black on the sword. But either way, it's still a very good look. And once we get Zoro in the right pose, it's going to look even better. So next up, we can take a look at the alternative head sculpt. So the one, of course, right out of the packaging is a very good look. So for the next one, we do have it with the bandana on. So just be sure to, of course, remove it from the left arm. And here we have the one with the mouth open, which of course allows you to place the sword in. So this is what they did with the Raiden Onigashima version. For the Netflix live action version, of course, it was a sword attached to the head sculpt, which was not removable, which when I did the review, I was disappointed, and you have to buy the Nami version to get the other alternative look. But this one, of course, you can remove the sword. And then we also have an alternative face sculpt for the bandana version. So this, you do have to remove the top first. And then we have the alternative faceplate, which is the smiling version. So you have an alternative look for this. And then they've also included 2 other faceplates for Zoro, which is not for the bandana version. It is in fact for the standard one. So what you do is you remove the face. So the first one is one that I really like for those light-hearted poses. So just like Luffy and Nami, we have a laughing one for Zoro. And then we have the frightened and shocked look, which is also something familiar if you have the Nami figure as well. And I think they did one for Luffy. So for these 2 faceplates, there's only for the one with without the bandana. And then we have 2 for the bandana. So yeah, as you can see, it doesn't fit. So it's still a very nice option to have for both the looks. And then for Luffy, they included this faceplate, which is a nice extra bonus. And this is something that, of course, we're going to get used to. when you buy the next figure, maybe they'll include one for Zoro. And next up, let's take a look at the articulation, the movement of the Zoro figure. So I'm going to start off with the head sculpt. So as expected, it can tilt left and right, no problems, 360 spin, and also move side to side. So it's very flexible, and then downwards very much, and then upwards a lot as well. And the neck also rotates. And then for the arms, you can see the extra shoulder pads, which can be pulled out. And it does look kind of weird at some parts, but it does allow a lot more freedom in terms of the movement of the arms. So you can rotate them upwards, backwards, and then you can see outwards and very far back. So it's actually pretty good the way they've done this. And then you just have to push it back in. And then we have the full arm turn. And also for the actual arm part, you can see it turns all the way around. And then we have a good arm bend. And then we also have rotation on the hand with the hinge. And then let's try the body. So you can see it's very smooth, although it does kind of detach itself. So be careful there. So you can move it side to side, and then downwards crunch and backwards. And then for the waist part, don't see any problems here. So it is a lot smoother. So side to side, and then this part is kind of slightly movable, but not too much, but you can kind of rotate it. And of course, once you have the shoes on, you can also rotate it as well. So very good movement in terms of the body. And then for the legs, they kick forwards, backwards, good rotation as well. And as expected, we have very good knee bends and very good movement. So very good so far. And then for the boots, they rotate fully as well as the foot, and there's a toe hinge as well. So I'm actually really liking the articulation, and not much limitations, of course, as this costume is a lot more simple. So yeah, I think extra points for the articulation, as it's very smooth. Just the arm joints do look a bit weird when you pull them out. Other than that, I'm pretty pleased with it. And now for the size comparison, starting off with the SE Figuarts One Piece Romance Dawn line with Luffy and Nami. And of course, these three go really well together. I really like the contrast of colors. And now we just wait on Usopp and Sanji. And here is a look at the SE Figuarts, the Raidon Onigashima line for One Piece with Zoro himself as well as Sanji. And here it is next to some more color popping characters with a Marvel Legends friendly neighborhood Spider-Man as well as the Jada Toys Chun-Li. And next to some more randoms from two other popular lines with a Mezco Batman as well as a Mafex John Wick. So now for my final thoughts on the SE Figuarts Roronoa Zoro for the Romance Dawn line, and I guess no surprises on how good this one has turned out to be. It is everything I expected, as they've taken the best parts from the Raidon Onigashima as well as the live action Netflix versions to really implement it into this version. And I guess I was expecting it, since they've done a great Luffy and Nami so far. This may even be the favorite one in my collection. So in terms of the accessories, we have so many options, like the alternative head sculpts with the light-hearted versions. Of course, the bandana look is a great one, and you can even remove the sword from the mouth, which is a mistake they did in the live action version. We had to wait for the Nami release to get that. And of course, this one is the classic costume, so you're not going to get any problems placing the sheath in compared to the Raidon Onigashima one. So it is kind of what I expected, what I wanted, and this one really poses well. We have, of course, the swords for all those action poses, and of course it's going to really add well into the collection with the others. So I'm going to give this an 8.5 out of 10. It is a great look, a great build, and it's my favorite one in the Romance Dawn line so far. If you enjoyed this video, of course, be sure to also check out the Luffy and Nami reviews, and stay tuned to more SE Figuarts content. Thanks for watching.